Hey guys, welcome back to Chaos Legion Gaming, and today we're going to talk about Age of Sigmar. Hey Legionnaires, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Daryl.
And we're going to talk about Age of Sigmar today. A very, very close to the heart game for me, personally.
Awesome.
There's kind of some hate towards the game, I would say, right?
Well,
the old world guys.
As an old timer, I used to play fantasy, and when AOS came along, it felt like a little too beer and pretzels for me. It felt like it lost a lot of its strategy. It just felt like it became an entry game for kids.
Like a more bland version. And I think that, it has been flushed out over the years. First edition was kind of rough.
Yeah.
Second edition was kind of getting there. And now here we are at third edition, going into fourth edition, wink, wink. That's probably coming soon, guys, just so you know.
I've been looking jealously at the models the whole time.
Oh, my God. They're so good.
Yeah.
You started your army, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I actually bit the bullet and started some Iron Jaws.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that army.
They're fun, and I really wanted to paint yellow.
Gotta love yellow. So today, guys, we're going to be going over kind of every single faction in Age of Sigmar, going over kind of the do's and the don'ts, what they like, what they don't like, and all that fun stuff. A little bit of tabletop stuff, but more so just if you're getting into the game and you kind of want to know what's going on with the game, what's going on with that faction in particular. Everything is good at something, and everything is mediocre at some stuff. But really, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, that's the balance.
Yeah. So first off, we're going to start out with Order, which is one of the four major factions, I guess we'd call them. So these are the good guys.
Okay.
So can you name one?
Cities of Sigmar.
Yeah, that is absolutely the first one on the list.
All right.
So Daryl, what do you know about Cities of Sigmar?
I feel like this is a catch-all of all the armies that don't have a real army.
Don't expose them for what they are. Games Workshop basically said, hey, we have all this shit that we need to just bunch into like one army.
Where can we put all this crap?
Oh my God, what can we do? And they just like shit out this faction.
Yeah, they're like dwarves and old dark elves and I guess it was
lions and tigers and bears.
Yep, oh my.
Yep. So basically their lore is they're normal dudes that were in, kind of the realm, and they're defending from chaos. They're defending from Archaon, who we'll talk about in a second. They're kind of like Guard, now that I think about it. They're like normal people, and yeah, there's magic in this game and stuff, but like in reality, like they're normal people with pitchforks that are just pissed off that people are taking over, and chaos is running rampant, and you got Sigmar in heaven, and it's just.
It sounds like it sucks.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good time.
Not
for
bad
them.
at the game. I mean, like
no,
it
like
sounds
as
like
like being a guardsman.
Yeah, that would
per se, right?
That would suck.
The next army we're gonna go over is Daughters of Cain.
Okay.
What do you know about them?
I didn't realize they were good.
Right? That's weird, right?
Right. But they're like Medusa snake chicks, and they like blood.
And they murder. They love murder.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me.
Arathi loved murder so much that, like, she wanted to murder somebody, and something happened, and more murder. And the god that was initially over them got murdered. Go figure. On the tabletop, she's ridiculous, and the model looks fucking gorgeous.
The big snake chick,
yeah. She's great. That's pretty much it. They're kind of like female / male elves that kill people. I don't know. I mean, a shooty army on the table for sure.
Okay.
Melee focus sometimes too. Kind of more rushy.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so it's definitely like, I guess, kind of like Korn in a sense.
They look corny.
They do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do look corny. The next army is going to be Fire Slayers.
Okay.
and you know.
These are dope. I used to have a dwarf
Did
army
you?
in fantasy.
Oh shit! Okay.
And so the Slayers were like my favorite part.
Oh shit!
So I always ran a couple Slayer companies.
Nice.
But yeah, the Fire Slayers look dope. Like the models look super cool, and they ride
They're
the
300.
giant dragon salamander things.
Salamander things. Yeah, they're really cool. So from what I grasped from the lore, basically their god was killed or shattered into pieces, and now they have to collect all of the gold
Oh,
to put him back together.
gotta catch them all.
Yeah, it's Pokemon, and they're pissed.
Yeah,
And
they
so
seem pissed.
they've ripped all their clothes off, and they're dwarves, and they're just like, "Fuck it, we're here.
So if you can paint tattoos, that's your army.
You're in."
Yep.
Yep. And they look like this. Yep. That's it.
If you like mohawks.
If you like mohawks and dudes that are ripped, that are short, this is your army. This is terrible.
Shout out to Brad.
Shout out to Brad. Brad, we know you're watching. I'm sorry. Idneth Deepkin, another weird fucking army.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
like elves that their dad went out for like milk and never came back. They ride on like these weird fucking eels.
So do they live underwater? Like I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do actually.
But then I feel like they have the Aquaman problem. Like how do you help?
Outside of water,
Yeah.
when they can't summon fish,
Yeah.
it's fucking terrible.
I just
All signs
So
point to water.
it's
Like,
the Aquaman army. I get it.
yeah, like they're like sitting on the shore, like, hey, come in the water and
No one
do
wants
that.
to play with me.
Come in the water and say that to my face. No, on the board, they're actually really cool. On the board, they use the waves. They come in at the board edge kind of, and they're very turn based. So they're very focused on kind of what turn is it, what buffs do I get for that turn.
Interesting.
They have cool models. They have a sea turtle that they ride on.
It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful army,
Yeah.
and they've got some really cool sculpts. Like that one water guy with his cape is
with the squid?
water. It's so cool.
That dude's badass.
Yeah.
Soul Train or Soul Rain or something.
Yep.
Yeah, he's badass.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And he's again, he's got the Aquaman problem, where he's like, say it to my face in the water.
It's pretty funny. I mean, it's hard to look down on an army of dudes riding sharks.
No, they're sick. I
Yeah.
mean, as much jokes as we make, guys, like every army has its own niche. We're just picking fun.
We literally
because
love every faction.
It's all good.
Yeah.
I love AOS. I think the models are fucking amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
So the next one, Kadron Overlords.
Okay, all right. Sky Dwarves.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we know about those guys?
They have cool blimp ships
Yeah,
that
like clockwork.
I really want to make a freebooter army out of.
I could see that.
That would be badass. I've seen it done.
You ever watch God, what is it? It's a show. I forget. Futurama made the show Enchanted. There's a clockwork scene in there.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what I get. I get these vibes.
Yeah, they're definitely steampunk.
Steampunky, yeah.
For sure.
Their leader has guns in his beard. It's weird.
If I could put guns on my beard, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would
definitely.
work with yours. Mine's too short.
Yep.
But they're, again, I don't know. It's weird. Dwarves, right?
Yeah, you think of them as miners and underground, so they took a little spin on it, and they're
Maybe they got the gold finally. And they were like, you know what? Let's just fucking buy airships.
level 2. Let's go and
Let's just shoot. As far as tabletop, they're very shooty.
Okay.
Almost exclusively shooty.
I've heard that they can teleport too.
They do, yeah. They're very mobile.
Interesting.
They use these blimp things, which we'll show you
Okay.
on the screen there. That's how they look. I don't know. Very interesting army. Just not my cup of tea. But,
Yeah.
But, you know, cool nonetheless.
They're on my list.
They are? Yeah, I don't know.
I think I like jump packs.
Oh, jump packs, yeah. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. The next ones are going to be Lumineth Realm Lords.
These guys look super cool.
They have awesome hats. You can scale the power of how powerful a Lumineth Realm Lord is with the size of their hat.
Okay. Good to know.
Teclis leads them. He's the god of magic,
Yep.
and he rides a sphinx.
I remember
He's got
him from fantasy.
Yeah, he is in fantasy. Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. And he's got a crazy fucking hat.
That's goals.
That's his power.
Hashtag goals.
Yeah, he's
big hat.
He's I think the Sphinx gave him the hat.
Oh, okay.
No, but
Had to answer a riddle.
basically, these guys are very magic user / ranged. They're pretty good at melee too. They have spears. They're very tricky. They're a buff army. I currently play them myself.
They're high elves, right?
Yes, they are high elves. They're very high skill cap too on the tabletop.
Oh,
they
interesting.
look great. Don't paint white. Paint them in off white.
Okay.
They're depicted in white and blue.
They do look pretty fragile.
They are fragile. Yes, they do melt. But if you have everything lined up correctly, they're very good.
Cool. It looks amazing. It's another amazing looking army.
Beautiful army.
And I'm intrigued to fight against them, actually.
Yeah, it'll be definitely a good game because orcs are kind of known for that rushy, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Sure.
So. And then another one, Seraphon.
Yep. So this is lizards riding lizards.
Yep. Dinosaurs with dinosaurs and laser beams and dinosaurs. So if you like dinosaurs, you should play Seraphon. Because what's better than one dinosaur? Two dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then a dinosaur riding those dinosaurs.
I just picture like two nerds riding each other around the GameStop. Like just
And I don't understand, like, so what is the conversation?
Yeah.
Is it like, hey, I'm going to ride you this time?
Maybe they take
and
turns.
then you ride me next time? I don't understand. That sounds terrible.
That sounds terrible.
But hey, they're doing it. They actually have really cool lore. So Lord Croak, which I call him something different, but we're not going to say what that is.
He's dead.
He is a dick. Yeah, he died, and he's kind of like, hey man, I'm just gonna like chill around my body because I don't give a fuck. Nagash kind of like yeeted him, and then now he's just kind of like an entity. And on the table, he's a fucking nightmare because he just kind of skirts around the side of the board, very, very magic dependent. So these guys can go two different ways. So they can go Kodo's Claw, which is their sub-faction, which is more heavier, big guys, or they can go Starborn. And Starborn is teleporting and shooting and magic. And it's really cool on the table. Another high skill cap army. But can be played at a lower level and have fun. And again, they look cool. They look so cool. I mean, look at these guys. They look amazing.
I'm very kind of jealous I don't have a Seraphon army.
We can make that happen.
I know. But it's definitely on my short list.
Yeah,
top
100%. They're such a fun army.
I think there's so many of them around in my
little circle
meta that I didn't need to.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they're super cool looking.
And then, so the next one, what do you think when you think of Age of Sigmar? What is the poster boy of Age of Sigmar? What is anti-Chaos Legion gaming?
Sigmarines?
Ew. More commonly known as Stormcast Eternals.
Yeah, basically they're Space Marines in fantasy, right?
Yeah, so so it's kind of interesting. They're Space Marines, but they're in Age of Sigmar, which is exactly what you just said, and that's their niche, right? They have some things where they can when they die they blow up. They have a huge model range, huge.
My GSC do that.
Oh, that's no, do they really?
No, not really.
Oh,
they just blow up, and then they die. Actually, it's the other way around. They blow up stuff, then they die.
I would have believed you because Gene Stealers are fucking terrible. But the Stormcast, the problem with them, they have a huge model range. And that's not necessarily a problem, but for new players, and especially being the poster child of Age of Sigmar, they're kind of very overwhelming for a new player.
Sure.
There's so many war scrolls. That's what the data slates are called, war scrolls. And so there's so many of them that it can be overwhelming to figure out what's good and what's not, especially with the characters.
Yeah.
And the meta changes and shifts a lot, right? So they look great. They're easy as hell to paint. They're kind of like Custodes, yeah. But an interesting army, but kind of, for me personally, I'd never get into them.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion. What do you think on them?
I mean, like, the dragon stuff looks cool.
Really cool. Some of the best models in the game, in my opinion.
So maybe I could see myself getting into that, but I don't. My Space Marine phase has moved past I've moved past my Space Marine. That was my first army, was Space Marines.
Thank God.
Yeah, and then
God, it's over.
So I can't see myself getting into that in a different game, but I see the allure. I like the models; they're still good. A lot of gold, right?
A lot of gold. Trim a little bit. Not bad though.
Okay.
So easier to paint.
But the dragons look badass.
The dragons are sick.
I could probably do that.
And if you play dragons, guys, you lean heavy on the dragons. That's how you play the dragons.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, it is. And so kind of the next army and the last army for Order is going to be Sylvaneth.
Okay.
These guys are assholes. They're hippies. They live in the woods. They come out of the woods. They shoot you. And then they go back in the fucking woods. And the cool thing about it is that they can't be seen when they're in the woods.
Oh, that's cool.
And so they're untargetable.
Okay.
And it's bullshit.
I see the issue.
And they can fuck off. That's all we're going to say about Sylvaneth.
I feel like they probably don't like the fire trolls,
the fire slayers.
Yeah.
Order kind of gets along with each other.
Oh, that's right. They're friends.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're not. But
Okay.
they are. They tolerate each other.
Gotcha.
But the Sylvaneth have a leader called the Ever Queen. I forget her first name, but
The model's badass.
the
with
model's
that giant
amazing.
beetle.
The models
Probably
are super
one of the
cool.
best in the whole
100%.
thing. Yeah.
But she goes into winter, and like nobody wants to be around her. So it's pretty funny because she like starts rampaging.
It's that time of year.
Exactly. It's very, very. It's interesting how they did that.
Yeah.
But she was killed, and then she came back from like this spore, and it was just a big thing. But
I do like the tree men models and all that. I like the vibe of the army. I don't know if I like the way it plays.
yeah, the way it plays is very. They can be melee. There's a lot of niche, but I think they shine in shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and teleporting with the woods and all that.
Gotcha. That's the wood elf glow up.
Yeah,
Right.
essentially, yeah. And so then we move on to Chaos, our next faction. Pretty self-explanatory here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Actually, it's disciples of Tzeentch,
Yep.
right? Which
Yep.
is the Tzeentch humans.
Yep. So they're. It's weird, right? The Chaos Gods have mortals, and then they have the demons, obviously.
Okay.
So the mortals obviously fell to the Chaos Gods, and they're doing bad shit with their hood rat friends.
Yeah.
So basically, Tzeentch is magic focused, very range focused, very tricksty. I enjoy the hell out of that army.
Okay.
It's a castle army. They have units that's like when you kill one, it splits into two. Then it splits into two more after you kill that. So it's very obnoxious.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
A blob of 10-man squad of pink horrors
Gotcha.
can turn into it's essentially 50 wounds.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. And then you got your big chickens that they call it.
Big chickens.
I don't mess with the mortals too much.
That's what I was wondering. So
yeah, they're the bird people guys, and
Okay.
some of them are humans.
Zangors.
Yeah, the Zangors, and some of them are humans, but I personally haven't messed with them too much.
Okay.
I think the demons are just so much better in third right now.
Gotcha.
But again, fourth is coming out, guys. So I mean, really, fourth
never
edition
know.
might change all this,
Honestly.
and I hope it does.
Yeah.
But they cheat at dice, which is
Oh,
cool. At the beginning
okay.
of the game, they roll fate dice, and they're
Okay.
just like, hey, this is this. And then they've got cool rules when they cast spells. They take the higher roll and duplicate it, so they ignore the lower roll,
Nice.
which is really good. So they're very consistent. But
Okay.
it's a castle army, so if one falls, they all fall pretty quick after that.
Gotcha.
Then you got your Beasts of Chaos.
Okay.
Kind of another GW looping them all into one little thing.
I see. Yeah, that was an army.
Yeah, it is an army in itself. A lot of old sculpts. I wouldn't recommend getting into it if you're a newer player. They have major rend characteristics. Rend is making the saves harder.
I see.
It's AP.
Yeah.
If you guys are familiar with 40k, they're very good at melee,
Okay.
and they do some shenanigans with their rend stuff. They're beast guys.
They have the big cow guys.
Yeah, big cow dudes that throw rocks, dudes that will kind of hit you with axes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it for them. You got Blades of Corn,
Okay.
pretty
Is
self-explanatory.
that like undivided?
No, actually,
Blades of
this is
Corn, sorry.
specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they're. What do you think Blades of Corn are?
They're-
Because this is a trick question.
World eaters.
Yeah, you'd think that, right? They're actually a tempo army.
Okay.
Everything has to line up for my melee to be amazing.
Okay.
So not a very noob-friendly army.
Which is counterintuitive.
Which is so weird.
Yeah.
Because, believe it or not, you're playing Khorne with the orcs.
Gotcha. They just play that way.
And so Blades of Khorne is a tempo base where everything is, this guy gives this buff, this guy gives that buff, so I get to hit you real good.
Okay.
Good army, fun army.
Hard.
But just never the way that you think Khorne would be.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and
I like the variety,
cool.
though, so that's cool.
The variety is cool. Then you got your Hedonites of Slaanesh, which I know you like Slaanesh.
They look cool. I honestly, I really like that glutton guy.
The dude riding on the back of the chariot thing.
Giant monstrosity.
Like Xerxes.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what
it gives me Xerxes
Fat
vibes.
Xerxes,
yeah, it's fucking great. Very melee focused. Super duper melee focused. Fast as hell. The demons are sick. This army's cool.
They look fun to me.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man. That's what these guys are.
All day.
Then you got Maggotkin of Nurgle.
Oh, yeah.
Stinky Boys.
Yeah.
They use kind of... Like, they use their pustulization wounds to burst mortal wounds.
Okay.
So they do a lot of
So if you hurt them, they hurt you back kind of thing?
No, if they swing on a certain number, I think it's 4s or 5s or better, you basically pustulizate a wound. And so you tick wound counters up. It's very oppressive. People say don't play Maggotkin of Nurgle unless you don't want any friends. And I agree, because I played the army for a year.
Sounds like the invasion magic. Is that what it is? The poison magic?
Oh, poison counters.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just like that. If you guys play Magic, that's annoying too. But yeah, this is an army, great models, awesome stuff. Doesn't have to be oppressive, but I would say middle of the road as far as hard to play.
Okay.
But they're definitely worth looking at if you're into that. You know, again, guys, this is all rule of cool, right? So, like, if you like the army, if you like the look of the army...
How are they speed-wise?
You'd think they're slow.
Yeah.
And then they gave them flyer units.
I see.
And then you take drowned men, and you get pregame movement.
Okay.
So it's fucking terrible.
Okay.
I think there was somebody that came in and said, I want to learn how to play AOS. And I said, all I have is Maggotkin and Nurgle. And I said it like 7 times, and the guy's like, I really want to learn. I don't care. Turns out he really cared. Because when you're doing pregame move and on the charge dealing like 20 mortal wounds plus pustulization wounds and wiping him turn 1, and then you reset and do it again consistently, it's bad.
He had the when you know you messed up face.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, I felt terrible because I was like, man, I told him this many times, but fuck.
Yeah.
And so then we got the Skaven, the rat people, and I think you'd know a lot about these guys because they were in Old World.
Yeah, I would never do a Skaven army just because of the horde quantity to make it cool.
You think Tyranids are bad? Try playing 120 Skaven.
But I love the shenanigans. They remind me of like...
They're casino.
Orcs, yeah.
Yeah, it's very like, let me roll the dice.
The funnest thing I can remember about them was back in the day you could shoot into combat with your own stuff because they didn't care about their... Yeah.
That's
it's
awesome.
Hilarious.
That's great.
Yep.
So these guys in AOS, they play very casino-y. Like, they're very swingy. They do everything really good, or they just blow themselves up. They have maul holes and shit. They can teleport a little bit.
Okay.
And they use, like, stones, like these warp stones, to pump themselves up. But picture it this way. If you guys play 40K, everything is a Melta. That's kind of the best way to describe it. The 9th edition Melta.
Gotcha.
So, like, roll the dice. Oh, shit, you rolled a 1. Everything's fucked.
Yeah.
And they all think that they are the rat.
That's funny.
Which is funny as fuck because they're all expendable.
Are they all, like, high on the warp stone? Like,
some of them.
Okay.
The smarter ones are taking drugs. The regular ones are just fucking cracked out like, I'm the best.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah. Is it, like, cracked or are they focused?
No, they're just fucking insane. And then they're like, there's a rat council that makes decisions on what they're doing.
That sounds terrible.
They burrow into the fucking, like, void to, like, travel places, but they don't know where the fuck they're going. So sometimes they'll burrow into, like, suns and shit. It's pretty funny.
Whoops.
And then there's Slaves to Darkness, which is my personal favorite.
Okay, that's the undivided one I was thinking.
Yeah. Slaves to Darkness is amazing. They can be taken... Allies can be taken with any faction or any army, I would say. But these guys are great. They're led by Archaon himself, who's the man, the myth, the legend. Archaon's just like pissed off at Sigmar for being a bitch.
He did run away.
Yeah, he ran like a bitch. Archaon beat him in Old World, and everybody in Old World, all the Old World guys are gonna hate us, and you put the hate in the comments, but Archaon fucked him up, and he ran to heaven, and now Archaon's coming for that ass again.
Got it.
These guys are great. They're very versatile, but I think that the best list is Archaon and Varangard. It's like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, except instead of 4 horsemen, there's like 12 horsemen in Archaon, which is great. They can kind of do everything. So they kind of are a mirror again, like Sigmar. Okay. Sigmar can shoot. They can do magic. They can do a little bit of everything.
Gotcha.
Put you in a good spot. Okay. However, you can ask Matt, one of our painters here at Chaos Legion Studios, that literally trim work is a motherfucker.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He did say that.
Work. He hated it.
Yeah, no, he just said it's a lot.
Oh yeah. I unfortunately handed him off the whole army.
I can't wait to see it though. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna look great. We'll send some pictures on the Instagram and things like that too, guys.
So that concludes our first part, which was Order and Chaos. Check out our second video for Death and Destruction.